We're going to talk today about absolute value equations and how to solve those. If you will remember, absolute value of a number is the distance from zero. Distance from zero on a number line. It doesn't make a difference whether it's on the positive side or the negative side. It is absolutely how far away from zero are you. Therefore, the distance from zero has to be a positive number. So when you take both the numbers 5 and negative 5 are both 5 places away from 0. So the absolute value of some number is equal to 5 means that what's inside there can either be a 5 or a negative 5. When you solve an absolute value equation like this, you should be looking for two solutions. Okay? It's really very easy to solve. You have to do basically two steps. The first things you need to do is you need to isolate the absolute value part of it. So that means if there's something on the outside of the absolute value signs, we need to get rid of that. And we get rid of it by using our inverse operations, just like we're solving. Okay? And we're going to do that normally the opposite way that we do our order of operations. So I'm going to start here by subtracting 4 from both sides of the equal sign. Remember, you can put your wall here if you would like. And that's going to give me 3 times the absolute value of x is equal to 6. Okay? I still have a 3 on the outside of the absolute value signs. So to get rid of that, I'm going to divide by 3, divide this side by 3, and I am left with x is equal to, and in this case, it is a 2. All right? That's the first step. That's what you have to do first. The next thing you want to do is you want to set up the two possible situations. So the two situations are, now I'm going to take this little block over here and cover up what's underneath here. Okay, because I don't want that to be in our minds right this minute. I know that whatever is underneath that block can either equal a 2 or it's possible for it to equal a negative 2. Okay? Because the absolute value of 2 is 2 and the absolute value of negative 2 is 2. You see how I did that? I also kind of attached this to these absolute value signs. You do not want to touch what's inside the absolute value signs until these absolute value signs are removed. So I'm kind of attaching those, giving you the idea that once you've done this, set up the two separate situations, those absolute value signs can go away. I don't need those anymore. And what's underneath here? In this case, it's just an x. So I just write an x down here, and here are my two answers. Now, both of those answers will work. If you were to go back to the original problem and put a 2 in here, the absolute value of 2 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6, 6 plus 4 is 10. Check. If you were to put a negative 2 in here, the absolute value of negative 2 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6, 6 plus 4 is 10. Check. They both have to work. This is where you need to pause the video and go ahead and do this one yourself, and then check your answers. Here's what your work should have looked like. Please don't get caught in the trap thinking that the answers are going to be exactly the same, but one will be plus and one will be minus. They will not. Now, I want to caution you. What's inside these absolute value signs? Do not touch. Do not touch that while it's still inside the absolute value signs. Leave it alone. Once you have set up the two possible situations, then it comes out of the absolute value and you can work it. Again, a little hint here is telling you please be sure to check both of your answers. Okay? Here's 2 more for you to check. Pause the video, do those. We'll do them ourselves here. Ready? Add 3 to both sides. I get the absolute value of x is equal to 7. Set up your two equations. X can equal to 7. X can equal to negative 7. All right, in this case, there's nothing on the outside of the absolute value, so I can jump right into setting up my two equations. X minus 2.5 is equal to 8, and x minus 2.5 is equal to negative 8. Now I need to take a minute and solve each of those. Add 2.8 to both sides here. I get x is equal to 10.5. Add 2.5 to both sides here, and I get x is equal to negative 5.5. And I believe those are correct, but I would check those and make sure that they work. Okay? Not all absolute value signs are going to give you two equations. Most of the time they will, but not all of the time. Here are the two times that they will not. If the absolute value of something is equal to 0, think about it. The absolute value of what will give me 0? Just 0. It's not like a positive 0 or a negative 0, just 0. So in this case, you will only get one answer. Okay? If they're telling you that the absolute value of something is equal to a negative number, again, think. The absolute value of some negative number, no. The absolute value of what number will give you a negative? That is nothing. Okay? Not happening. Not happening. So we are going to use no solution for that. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and let's try these. Again, pause your video and then go back. Here I'm going to start by adding 8 to both sides. So I get 0 is equal to the absolute value of x plus 2. I know right away I only have to set up one equation. X plus 2 is equal to 0. So x has to equal negative 2, one answer. All right. For this next one, I'm going to start by subtracting 3 from both sides. That's going to give me the absolute value of x plus 4 is equal to negative 3. Because this is negative, I know it's no solution. Now, let's say that you didn't see that, and so you went ahead and you set up your two equations, and you came up with two answers. When you went back to check those answers, it would not work. Okay? Here is a word problem. Now, these are a little bit harder to do. So basically, we're going to have the absolute value of something is equal to. Now, what we need to do is we need to have our variable here. So we're just going to put an x here. We need to put like what the norm or the average or what it is they're looking for needs to go right here. And you want to find the difference between these two. And then this will be the acceptable difference. And that difference can either be above or below. So in this case, it says inline skates typically have wheels with a diameter of 74 millimeters. The wheels are manufactured so that the diameters vary. They vary from this by at most 0.1 millimeters. So that means it could actually go up to 75 millimeters or down to 73 millimeters. So we're going to write and solve this absolute value. So x is going to be the measurement of each wheel individually minus the 74, which is what we want it to be. Okay, and again, this can vary. It can be up to 0.1 millimeter larger or 0.1 millimeter smaller. And that's how you create that. And then you would simply solve that. And we've already done that. And we did that basically in our head. X can equal to be 75. Oops, that's not right. X can be 74.1 or, let me get my eraser here. Okay. So X can either be 74.1 or 73.9. Thinking faster than I was talking. And that's it.